There are tornadoes, earthquakes, and volcanoes. And then there's Carmen.
Playing a force of nature is a blast. It takes a lot of energy.
Which is why mezzo-soprano Peabody Southwell looks exhausted after being on stage almost nonstop for the Tragedy of Carmen.
It's a whirlwind, and you realize that there are moments in your life where you destroy people, or you could, and most people avoid that, but Carmen does not.
Carmen is the quintessential paradox of passion, which is that it's something that you're reaching for, something that you're hungry for, but you know it ain't good for you. And so this production really tries to get at the kernel of what that's about and why would somebody run headlong into destruction.
Carmen, as director Alexander Gideon sees her, is like a tsunami that can't be stopped.
You don't realize how much force it takes to kind of expand in the way that he wants Carmen to feel like a flood, or to feel like a fire, or to feel like these great natural tragedies that occur in the world.
Our impulse as audience members, as spectators, is we actually want to confront the darkest parts of our own psyche. And to me, that's the heart of what opera should be, is the opportunity to have the thrill of vicariously connecting to it and seeing ourselves in something really frightening and awful.
The intimate space of the Balboa Theater intensifies that experience. It also exemplifies what San Diego Opera's general director David Bennett wants to do with the Detour series.
I think in the heart of the Detour series is to produce works that are intimate, potent, visceral, theatrical experiences. Grandeur is one thing that we sense in Grand Opera and the big theater, and intimacy is something that we wanted to share with people in the Detour series.
This is the mission of that series as far as David Bennett has described it. If you want to create productions that challenge conventions of standard grand opera that San Diego Opera traditionally and historically has done so well, I can't think of a better example of that than this production, which uses beloved music and beloved characters, but explores them as if they were completely new.
You know, they have a saying in English theater, which is, treat the classics like new plays and new plays like classics. We are not trying to replicate the Carmen that you've already seen. This is not going to look like the traditional grand opera at all, but the core of it and what the story is actually about, I hope will actually spring to life in a way that makes it feel like it's new.
Part of that involves reminding people how risky and controversial Carmen was when it was originally performed more than a century ago.
I think it's just about having an open mind to it, that this is not, it wasn't intended to be a comfortable meditation on sexuality when it first came about.
The Tragedy of Carmen serves up a distilled reimagining of Bizet's Carmen, conceived back in 1981 by English director Peter Brook. It's a brisk 90 minutes, involves only 4 singers, and has scenes of dialogue alternating with the music. It was Brooks's way of bringing opera into a more naturalistic theater world.
I would say the principal difference with how I'm looking at this is that I love the epic gesture of opera. I think that the way that he's stripped everything away actually gives us a chance to look at this as a myth and kind of create a new telling of the myth with just a much more freedom.
But introducing something new in the very traditional world of opera can be risky. But it's a risk the Detour series is willing to take in order to show that opera is a living, breathing thing that has something to say to modern audiences. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.